welcome to You Cook, I'll Bake.
The perfect show for the imperfect chef. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Andrea, and today we are celebrating Father's Day, Cuban style.
That's right, because our husbands both share a love for Cuban food.
It's true.
So I am making one of their favorites, Ropa Vieja.
Which literally translates to old dress, but don't worry, we're not going to be making any old dresses today, no.
But quite literally, it is a slow-cooked flank steak, seasoned just beautifully, as Andrea would say. Mm-hmm. And it is served with white rice and black beans.
Beautiful, absolutely. And I'm going to be making some dessert empanadas. My dad loves hand pies or fried pies. I can remember my grandmother making them all the time as we were growing up. But I'm going to keep it healthy for my dad because I love him. And we're going to bake them instead of fry them.
Because it's not you cook, I fry. It's you cook, I'll bake.
That's true. So I'm going to be the baker today. It's exciting. I'm excited.
All right.
Ready to get started?
To get started, we've got the sides on, white rice, black beans cooking behind me, and you're gonna get started
on
with
the pie dough.
Let's go.
Let's go. So let's get started with the empanada dough. I'm really excited about this. Typically empanada dough is made with flour and lard and all this other stuff, but I really want to make this as healthy as I possibly can for my dad, but at the same time making it really great for Danielle's family to be able to eat as well. So you're going to find that this is gluten and lactose free, which is a big deal. I'm going to give you a little couple of hints when it comes to this as well. But so what I have right now is some almond flour. Be careful not to use almond meal. Almond flour is done at a finer grain and it's really good. We're going to use the food processor today, so I'm going to stick this in. I have a cup of almond flour. Goes straight in. I have 4 tablespoons of coconut flour. Again, coconut flour, really good, but make sure it's the fine stuff. Put that bad boy in there. I have 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. This is a leavening agent, just gives it a nice little depth. I have 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum as well. Now, xanthan gum is made from fermented sugar. It's the best I can give you. It's made from fermented sugar, and it's particularly good in gluten-free baking products or things like that. Xanthan gum is really good. It's a stabilizer and a binder, holds things together when you don't have the gluten. So it works really well. So I've got 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum. I've got a pinch of kosher salt. And then I have just shy of a tablespoon of sugar. I'm using turbinado sugar. You can use white sugar, it doesn't matter. And we're gonna pulse this together just to get it really nice and combined. Just give it 8 or 9 pulses, nothing huge. To that, I'm gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of lemon zest. Now, lemon zest is just gonna give it a nice little zing. It's gonna be delicious. I'm using a small grater to zest this lemon. You wanna be careful not to go all the way through the pith of the lemon because that's gonna be very bitter. But just a quick little swipe over my grater. You can use a microplane. The oils from the lemon also are gonna get in there and make it really delicious. To this, I have a 1/2 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And the really important parts to this are the cold aspects of this. Whenever you're making a pie crust, make sure that you're using super cold ingredients. So I've got a 1/4 cup of very cold cream cheese that I have put the lactase enzymes in last night. They sat overnight and broken down all those sugars, made it really good for your tummy, as Danielle likes to say. I'm gonna stick that in there. My 1/4 cup of cream cheese. You can see how cold it is. It's hard to get out of the cup. And then I have just shy of a stick of butter that I did the exact same thing with the lactase enzymes. Okay, I let that sit overnight and it's just shy. It's just shy of a stick of butter. You can totally add those lactase enzymes into your butter and let it sit as well. But I really need the fat content to make this pie dough really nice and flaky. So, I'm gonna take this, put it in to my food processor and let it go. We're gonna pulse this as well, and you're looking for it to come together but not fully processed. If it comes together and it's fully processed, the pie dough is just gonna be really dense. It's not gonna be that good. So we're gonna pulse to begin and then let it go until it starts to come together, but before it forms a ball. You'll see. Now at this stage, it's formed a ball. It's fantastic. It's wonderful, but we're missing one happy ingredient. Danielle's favorite thing on the planet, an egg. So I'm gonna take this egg and I'm gonna lightly beat it. Just lightly beat it, nothing huge. And I'm going to put it into my food processor. And I'm gonna let it go to town again. And now it's ready. It's perfect. I'm gonna get myself a sheet of plastic wrap, and we're just gonna go straight onto the plastic wrap with this dough. Be careful of these blades, they are super sharp. And now that it's on my plastic wrap, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna form it into a flat, round dough ball, basically. And this is gonna go into the freezer. It's gonna go into the freezer or into the refrigerator. If you go into the freezer, just for an hour. If you go into the fridge, it needs to be for at least a couple of hours. And I want you to look at this pie dough really quick. It has, you can see the lemon zest in it. It looks really, really nice. It's nice and smooth. And when we put it in the fridge, all those butter solids are gonna come together and get really, really hard and make it really easy for us to roll out. It's gonna be amazing.
Now to move on to our Ropa Vieja. I have here in front of me a bunch of different ingredients. I've got cumin, cilantro, oregano, salt, pepper, a bay leaf. I've got white vinegar. I've got tomato paste. I've got garlic. I've got tomato sauce. And then I have my beef broth, my onions, and my peppers. My husband prefers the red, orange, and yellow peppers over the green. So that's what we're working with today. You will need a whole onion. I've already got half of it thinly sliced. We're gonna continue slicing the rest of it real quick. You may be looking at my water that's over here in the measuring cup and thinking, that's some funky looking water. It's not just water. I actually like to rinse out the can of my tomato paste with the water that I'm going to be using for my beef broth. The Kitchen Accomplice is fantastic. It comes in this little container. It's in the aisle with the seasonings, unrefrigerated, and it is a concentrate. So you add it in with water and it makes your beef broth, and I absolutely adore it. So now we've got our onion thinly sliced. We're gonna move on to our peppers. Our peppers should be cut decently thick. You don't want them to be too thin because as they cook down, they are going to thin out. So if you like really, really thin, stringy peppers in your ropa or, you know, in anything, then you could cut them thinner. This is to your preference, but my husband prefers them little on the thicker side. All right, now that we've got our onion and all of our peppers cut up, we're gonna dump all this stuff into our slow cooker. I'm gonna pour in our tomato sauce. You need just 1 can of tomato sauce. And again, all of these ingredients and directions are on the website, youcooki'llbake.com. We are currently prepping for about 2 pounds of flank steak. So adjust accordingly if you're working with more meat. I just poured my tomato paste water into my can. I want to get all the flavor I can. So I'm just rinsing out that can of tomato sauce with my tomato paste water. And now we're going to use about 2 teaspoons of beef broth. I don't normally measure this out, but I know about how much it needs. Done there. We've got about 3 cloves of minced garlic. We've got our tomato paste. This is about 6 ounces, I believe. It's 1 of those small cans of tomato paste. Or you can buy the bigger can and split it up and save the rest for later. We have our white vinegar. That really comes in handy when it comes to breaking down that meat and softening it up. We have our beautiful little bay leaf. Give it a little depth of flavor, as Andrea likes to say. And all of those lovely ingredients that we talked about earlier. We're just gonna sprinkle them in. Now we're gonna dump all of our peppers and our onions in as well. I'm just gonna sprinkle them into this slow cooker. May look like a lot. Don't worry, it is all gonna cook down. And there we go. Now to move on to searing our flank steak. For our flank steak, we want our heat to be at about medium-high on our skillet. We're gonna use some vegetable oil. Don't forget, we've mentioned plenty of times in previous episodes to not use olive oil when you're cooking at high heat. Use canola or vegetable oil. So we've got our vegetable oil here. I have my skillet set to a medium-high heat, like I said. We're gonna wait for that to heat up just a little bit, and while we do, we're gonna go ahead and salt and pepper the top of our flank steak. We're just gonna cover the top with some cracked black pepper and sea salt. Beautiful. I'm gonna massage that in just a little bit because since it is chunky, it could fall off. I don't want it to fall off when I go to pick it up. We're gonna put it in the oil. Seasoned side down into the oil. And that's the sound. I've washed my hands, so now we're going to season the top with salt and pepper. We only want this cooking for about 4 minutes. It just needs a light browning on the top. So we're gonna go ahead and flip it over. You can see here that it's just lightly browned. It is not thoroughly cooked. You don't want it to be overcooked. It is going to cook in the slow cooker for the majority of the cooking time. Okay, so we've turned off our heat. It is starting to die down. It is beautifully browned, about 4 minutes on each side. We are now ready to transfer it into our slow cooker. It's going to cook at high heat in the slow cooker on high for about 4 hours. We're going to also make sure that all of these juices that has cooked out within the pan, the oil, all of that's going to go in as well. That's got a lot of flavor in it, and so we want that to go into the pot with the meat.
Let's start working with the filling for our empanadas. In this bowl, I have about 1.5 cups of cream cheese that is softened, and it does have the lactase enzymes in it, so it's great. Let that sit overnight. I'm gonna mix this together with about 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. It's gonna give it a nice creamy texture in the inside, and just wait till you see what this gets added to. It's gonna be amazing. And there you go, our cream cheese is done. To this, I'm gonna set this aside, but inside the empanada, we're also gonna add something really, really special, and this is guava paste. It's guava with pectin and sugar and citric acid, just kind of all mixed together, and it's really, really good. You can actually slice it into little slices, and we're gonna stick that inside the empanada to make it really nice and fruity. Look at this dough, it's amazing. I'm so excited about this. The empanada dough is great. Again, this is gluten-free, lactose-free, low carb, great glycemic index. We're good to go, it's wonderful. So here we go. I've got my dough right there, and we're gonna roll it out between 2 sheets of parchment paper. If you feel that your board is moving a lot, like mine is right now, I'm actually gonna grab. So if you see that your board is moving too much, let's lay down a cloth and put the board over it. It's not going anywhere. This pie dough is cold, so it's going to be a little bit harder to roll out, but that is okay. It's worth it, I promise. My empanada dough has now been rolled out to about 1/4 of an inch thick, and I'm gonna pull off the top layer of wax paper, and look how lovely it is. It's so beautiful. And I want you to check out really quick these really beautiful pieces of butter, just these little morsels of butter that are nestled into the dough. You can also see the lemon zest. It's absolutely delicious. We're gonna take this now and we're going to use our handy dandy cookie cutter and create little small rounds out of them. I have 1 round of my empanada dough, and let me show you what we're gonna do with it. We're gonna take a little spoonful of our cream cheese mixture, stick that straight in the middle, right in the center, and then we're gonna take a piece of our guava, just cut it straight up right in the middle. Make sure it fits. You never wanna overstuff your empanadas. We're gonna put the guava right in the center, and then we're just gonna fold it over. Now this dough is a little bit more delicate than what you're used to, but that's okay, it's fine. We're gonna pinch the sides and do the same thing over and over again. If you'll notice here, I have some excess dough left over. That's fine, that's not a problem, but whatever you do, you don't want that butter that's in there to kind of come to room temperature, so we're gonna stick that back in the fridge for just to keep it cool so it's easier to work with. Empanadas are all ready to go thanks to Danielle coming in the clutch to help me out. This dough is very fragile, so you have to be very careful and work pretty quickly because the butter will come to room temperature and make it a little bit hard to work with. I'll remember that for next time. Now what I'm gonna do is take all of my empanada pies and I'm gonna use a fork to kind of seal up the edges just a little bit. Give it a nice little design, a nice little crimp, if you will, like my hair when I was in high school, but that's beside the point. And then we're gonna do Danielle's favorite thing. We're gonna break some eggs, but not in our hands. Watch the previous episode for that one. I'm just beating up an egg right now. Grr, I'll beat you up. I'm just kidding. And I am going to brush my empanadas with this egg wash, basically. And the purpose of this is to really give it a nice sheen in the baking process. It'll give it a really nice shiny top and it'll look lovely. It'll also help to seal up those edges some as well. My empanadas are ready to go in the oven. I've got my oven heated to 375 degrees. I'm gonna put these in for about 15 minutes. I'm gonna check them after 15 minutes to make sure that they're nice and golden brown. If they're not, I'll adjust the time accordingly.
And there you go. We have a wonderful Cuban meal in celebration of Father's Day. The ropa that we made today is actually still cooking behind us. That has a few more hours to go. When it is ready, when it's done and through that 4 hours, you want to shred it. You want to use 2 forks, even 2 normal sized forks, pull them apart from each other, leave the meat in the sauce for another 30 minutes cooking, and so that it can soak up all that juicy, wonderful goodness. Butter and salt in the rice cooker with the salt, and just a can of black beans with some salt, cooking until they're tender.
And the empanadas are done. They smell
amazing,
glorious. I'm so excited about them. Stuffed with cream cheese and guava paste. They are just amazing. I'm so excited to taste them. They're still warm out of the oven.
And speaking of Father's Day, they are on a cake plate that my dad bought for my Granny Stella, who my daughter is named after. when he was a little boy at a school sale.
Oh, I love that.
Adorable.
I love it so much. It's so beautiful. Well, to all those dads out there, to my husband, to my dad, I love you both so, so very much. Thank you for being such amazing influencers in my life and for my girls.
And to my dad and your brother, my husband, we love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. Thank you for tuning in and watching.
Absolutely.
Catch us next week as we prepare for July 4th. Like, subscribe, follow us
Show us some
everywhere
love.
on social media at You Cook I'll Bake. Get all the recipes and see other episodes at youkookalbake.com.
That's right. Well,
Let's
thank you
give
guys
it a
so much. Let's taste
taste.
it.
You want to get a little bit of all the ingredients on one fork if you can, because it all just goes together so well. And quickly.
Oh, here we go. Split it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
It's going to fall apart a little bit, but the gloriousness of this, you can see the guava, you can see the cream cheese. So good.
Cheers.
Cheers. Have a good one. Happy Father's Day. We love you.
Bye. Get over there to work on it.
Oh, God. We have
We're
issues.
joining at the brain.
That's what it is. All right, we ready? Nope, not ready. Kids coming in. What's happening? And I'm going to go ahead and get started with the...
Empanadas.
with the empanadas.
Still, Mom. Mom, still.
It actually looks good. Y'all got to remember, we're still doing this with all our family rolling around. Okay.
Separation.
I
don't know.
Pull my britches down. Up, not down. Britches down is a bad situation. All right.
They're flaking.
let's
The dough in.
let's get the rolling. You know I can't freestyle like that. I don't know how.
Gotta get the filling pies. Gotta get the filling pies. Gotta get the filling pies.
I'm not worthy. Let's get ready to get. Hang on. Let's get ready to get started. Let's get ready to get started, people. Yeah, it's like I'm fixing to go.
Here's the empanada I made.
That's good. Can I do that again?